For some people, university is just another series of classrooms. For others, it's about finding purpose and value as you define what will be your life's work. But when you step foot here, in this place, that's when you find your life's work colliding with legacy to produce an educational experience reaching deeper than you ever thought possible. It's more than books, more than classrooms, more than papers or exams. Virginia Union University is a place where you discover the power of a limitless future.
Good morning, Virginia Union University, our family and our friends. We're delighted to begin a series of conversations with our partners who are helping us innovate into the 21st century. Today, I am happy to welcome you to no one other than Dwight Thanos Smith. Everybody calls him Thanos. He is the Chief Visionary Officer, the founder and chief innovator of Paragon Universe. Dwight Thanos, welcome to Virginia Union.
What's happening? What do you do, baby? What do you do?
So, quite interesting is Thanos and the work that he's doing. So first, we would like to begin just with a conversation about who you are. What's your background? Where did you come from? And how did you get to this moment?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked that quite a bit. I was actually born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. So shout out to all my Jamaican family everywhere. We're one love, one people, one heart, one mind. And came to America. Before I came to America, when I was 7 years old, I built my first glider aircraft. It's a motorless aircraft. And it was a funny story behind that. I tell it all the time, but I'll say it again. My sister and I took my friend Fianny to the rooftop of our house in Jamaica. And I built this aircraft with no motors on, just like a glider aircraft. And I said, Fianny, get on the aircraft and we're going to strap you in. I want you to go to America. And when you get to America, I want you to get some snacks and bring them back to us. So, little kids with imagination and stuff. What he didn't know is we're going to push him off the rooftop, literally within minutes. And he kind of, the thing went off and then went straight down the roof, and then it glided across the yard, and then we're jumping up and down, and the rest is history. And that kind of really started my journey with aviation. I used to dig little ravines in my yard and fill it with water, trying to figure out how to help my fish navigate in the backyard. Had no idea I was developing what would be today on track for the future of air traffic management software system. I started trying to figure out how to build skateboards using the bearings from the motors to make a skateboard, and then later on be building electric cars. So at a very young age, before I was 8 years old, I've been very industrious to try and apply my mind. And I never liked cartoons. I couldn't stand that stuff. I didn't like watching TV. I was more into the business channel. I thought Sesame Street was a bunch of Halloween characters because I just don't do people in masks and costumes. They're a little creepy. So came to America and went to school in the Midwest. Then I eventually went to Purdue as a student athlete. I was on the football team there in the mid 90s. And then from there, didn't like it. It wasn't for me. I didn't realize I was going to become a business athlete. And so long story short, left there, got into finance and got into entrepreneurism, came up with the collapsible beverage carrier for the fast food restaurants, developed the chemical used today in the oil and gas sector for increasing the recovery rate in your fluids. So when you're fracking, we use a biodegradable formula to help you facilitate a better fracking progress on the site. And so I've been parlaying that to finance and build the Paragon Universe. And so that's what kind of got me here today. And when I started Paragon, that was in 2018, October, with $600 at a coffee shop. I created my company and started funding it myself. And at that time, I was building an aircraft. I thought I was building an aircraft. I had no idea that that aircraft would need and require different industries to come together to make the aircraft before you built the aircraft. Whereas I could have just built a fake aircraft, throw some propellers and fly this thing and wait for the industry to catch up. Because it's my money, I want to make sure that that thing's going to go a long way. So that's kind of how I got here today, and a long way to get there.
So let's talk a little bit about education.
Yeah.
What was your educational experience and how do you relate it to the historically black college and university as you've traveled around all over the country at various types of institutions, what historically are known are predominantly white institutions, Hispanic serving institutions in Texas. What have you found in your journey as a black man, as a Caribbean American?
I gotta go. I'm just kidding. Actually, education was not my strong suit. I was actually pretty smart as a child growing up before I came to America. When I came here, the language barrier was a little challenging at first because people spoke so fast. And the American accent is a little different than the Jamaican. We speak patois there, and so had to learn how to slow things down a bit. But then once I did, I started to pick it up again academically until I got to middle school and high school were the toughest time for me to learn. It was like brutal watching paint dry. For someone who later on, after high school, I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADD. And once I figured that out, I thought I was dying because they said, I've never heard that term before. They said, when I went after high school, 2 years at home, then I went to college, took an entrance exam at a school called National Louis. They said, hey, did you know you're dyslexic, you got ADD after your test came back? And I said, oh my God, how much time do I have left? But I'm like, I came here to learn and y'all telling me I'm about to die? You gotta be kidding me. And, but I wasn't dying. I was actually relieved to know that there was a reason why. Well, I would stare at a page and it would take forever to read that page. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm putting it down and it's not sinking in and I'm trying to read it. I can read through the whole page, but I'm not remembering anything. And it's because my mind was racing so fast that it was too slow. And so once I learned how to speed read, I learned how to multitask to keep myself focused on any given point, anything at a time. And I learned how to exercise. So now I'm working out like 4 hours every morning, no matter what, to tire myself out. And so as a result of doing that, my education picked up. I became a 4.0 student. I transferred into Purdue University as a 4.0 student with academic merit. So that was the inflection point. I think it's tough because a lot of Black Americans, we get unfairly or misdiagnosed coming up in the system. And education has been the cornerstone of American history since the 1600s, when the Puritans decided to use education to reinforce their reading, writing, and math to enhance their core values. Then in the 1800s, Horace Mann came in with the 8-hour workday to kind of incite or move along the Industrial Revolution. So we had like 45 to 60-minute classes. A bell goes off, go to your next shift, your next class, and you rinse and repeat. It was really for the Industrial Revolution to help people work in factories. And the bell curve system, and what happened during that time frame, creatives like myself got pushed down to the bottom because we needed A and B students to be great at learning how to work a machine in a rinse and repeat fashion. Now in the 2000s, we're being asked for the creatives to come back to the top. And this is an area by and large that where Black folks have really excelled at. If you look at a lot of the inventions in history that have defined our entire national infrastructure, we've been in the forefront, whether it be George Washington Carver with the peanut, 300 uses of it. Some folks would like to say that he invented peanut butter, and that is actually disrespectful. He came up with over 300 uses for peanuts. And even with the cotton, when we had to convert, the land was so destroyed by cotton that peanuts actually neutralized the soil. And so when Henry Ford did the Model T for racing back in the 1908, 1910, when he commercialized it for 1912 for the Model T, he actually used George Carver's system to create what is known today as advanced manufacturing. When I think it's Charles Fred Page, I'm getting it wrong here, when he invented the aircraft in 1904 and patented it before the Wright brothers, he's just in 2023 getting credit for it. And it's disappointing. That was mailed to, I think it was the World's Fair, and it somehow got lost in the mail. And then in 1908, the Wright brothers flew the first wooden aircraft from Kitty Hawk. And so we've seen this, the stoplight. We've seen it when Lewis Latimer in the 1800s created the white paper for electricity that Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla benefited from to advance electricity, yet we don't hear about that. So me being a student of history, once I started learning and applying it, I'm like a sponge. And now I'm at a point where it's like I was explaining earlier, there's like 3 layers of the dinosaur age, right? That allegedly. You got like, it's the Mesozoic era. So you got like the Triassic, the Jurassic, and the Cretaceous period. And then Triassic, you got like, that was when you had like mammals, you had like lizards and things of that nature, amphibians. Then you had like the Jurassic when you had like flying birds like the Thesaurus and pterodactyl and stuff like that. And then in the Cretaceous period, you had the T-Rex and stuff like that. We are on a precipice right now of creating an evolutionary leap with the Paragon universe, because I'm a believer in Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. I do things in threes in everything that I do, and I apply that along with my learning and education in terms of how I process things, which is why I feel like I'm on a mission that's being called.